The world's most successful failed state. Are you curious about how a nation can be both incredibly rich and strikingly poor at the same time? Welcome to Equatorial Guinea, often dubbed the world's most successful failed state. In this video, we dive deep into the paradox of a country teeming with natural resources, yet plagued by corruption, human rights abuses, and widespread poverty. How can a nation with one of the highest per capita incomes in Africa still struggle to provide basic services for its people? Equatorial Guinea is often described as a failed state due to its lack of political stability, widespread corruption, and human rights abuses. Nevertheless, it is a contradictory fact that it is one of the wealthiest nations in Africa in terms of per capita income. This is primarily due to the fact that it possesses an abundance of oil reserves. Considering the nature of success and failure in governance, development, and statehood, this contradiction raises important issues regarding the essence of these concepts. We will investigate the history of Equatorial Guinea, as well as its economic paradox, the ramifications of its political position, and the lessons that may be gained from its unique status as the world's most successful failed state. All of these topics will be covered in this video. Equatorial Guinea, which is situated on the western coast of Central Africa, is comprised of a mainland region known as Rio Muni and a number of islands, the most notable of which is Bioko Island, which is the location of the capital city of Malabo. The year 1968 marked the year that the nation achieved independence from Spain, making it one of the first African states to do so after being under colonial authority. In spite of this, the nation has been plagued by political unrest ever since it gained its independence, which has been characterized by a string of authoritarian regimes. The dictatorship of Francisco Macias Nguema, which lasted from 1968 until his ouster in 1979, was marked by a combination of brutal authoritarianism, political purges, and massive breaches of human rights. He was succeeded by Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo, who was able to seize power in a military coup and has ruled with an iron fist for more than 40 years. In spite of the authoritarian style of his government, Obiang has been successful in preserving some semblance of stability in the country, which has been a contributing factor to the expansion of the economy overall. The economic paradox: wealth existing in the face of poverty. Since the middle of the 1990s, Equatorial Guinea's economy has been experiencing a transformation as a result of the country's abundant natural resources, mainly oil. The production of oil is responsible for more than 90% of the country's total exports and makes a major contribution to the country's gross domestic product. With regard to the amount of money earned by each individual, Equatorial Guinea is among the highest in all of Africa. On the other hand, the mass of the population has not seen an improvement in their living conditions as a result of this prosperous situation. The concentration of wealth and other forms of corruption. It is because of the government's control over oil earnings that a system of favoritism and corruption has been established, which has resulted in a small elite holding the majority of the wealth. According to Transparency International, Equatorial Guinea is consistently ranked as one of the countries with the highest levels of corruption in the world. The lack of accountability and transparency has hampered the process of economic diversification, which has resulted in an excessive reliance on oil and a significant lack of investment in social infrastructure. The existence of poverty and inequality. Equatorial Guinea is confronted with enormous issues relating to poverty and inequality, despite the fact that its GDP per capita is relatively high. It is estimated that a sizable section of the population is living in extreme poverty, which means they do not have access to fundamental amenities like clean water, healthcare, or education. The money that was gained from oil has not been distributed in an equitable manner, and a significant number of individuals continue to be excluded and disenfranchised. Social indicators. There is a striking disparity between the social indicators of Equatorial Guinea and the country's economic situation. In addition to having one of the highest rates of maternal and infant mortality in the world, the country's healthcare facilities are critically lacking in resources. Because of financial constraints or a lack of infrastructure, many children are unable to attend school. This is another factor that contributes to the limited access to education. This mismatch between economic affluence and social well-being is highlighted by the elements that are being discussed here. Authoritarianism and instability present themselves in the political landscape. Authoritarianism, repression, and a lack of democratic processes are the defining characteristics of the political scene in Equatorial Guinea. Under the leadership of President Obiang, the government has persistently suppressed opposition, curtailed the right to freedom of speech, and influenced the functioning of electoral processes. The suppression of dissenting voices. Over the course of its history, the government has a pattern of violently silencing voices of opposition and dissent. Opponents of the government are frequently imprisoned, and organizations that are part of civil society are subject to substantial restrictions. Violations of human rights. Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch are only two of the human rights organizations that have reported a large number of abuses that have occurred in Equatorial Guinea recently. Elections and the function of governance. Several allegations of fraud and manipulation have been leveled against the elections that took place in Equatorial Guinea. The Democratic Party of Equatorial Guinea, PDGE, which is now in power, has been able to keep its hold on power through a combination of the international aspect of the situation. The attention of international actors has been drawn to Equatorial Guinea due to its exceptional status as a wealthy nation that does not have a functioning state dynamic. Because of the country's abundant natural resources, Western interests, and the exploitation of other cultures, extensive scrutiny has been directed toward a number of Western oil firms because of their operations in Equatorial Guinea. Some people believe that these businesses are responsible for the continuation of the authoritarian rule because they supply the government with the financial resources that allow it to keep its hold on power by supplying financial resources. The expanding sphere of influence of China. China's involvement in Equatorial Guinea has grown significantly over the past few years, as seen by its investments in various infrastructure projects and its acquisition of oil contracts. Despite the fact that these investments have the potential to stimulate economic development, it is important to learn from Equatorial Guinea. It is possible for other countries who are struggling with the issues of governance, economic development, and state building to learn useful lessons from Equatorial Guinea's circumstances. Accountability and accountability management of resources. The experience of the country highlights the significance of accountable government and transparent management of the country's resources. In order to ensure that all residents are able to reap the benefits of economic progress, the difference between authoritarianism and political stability. Specifically, Equatorial Guinea serves as an example of the delicate equilibrium that exists between authoritarianism and political stability. In spite of the fact that authoritarian regimes succeed in maintaining order, the crucial function of actors from other countries. The participation of international actors in countries that are abundant in resources can have significant repercussions for the governance and development of those countries. If you found this exploration of Equatorial Guinea's paradox intriguing, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us for more deep dives into the world's most compelling stories and uncover the truths behind nations that challenge our understanding of success and failure.